Phenomena. Phenomena.
Justice League. Was it really better than Avengers? Let's be real.
So the first topic we want to talk about is the costumes. Who was better, Justice League's or Avengers? And I honestly feel like there's no way we could compare it.
No.
Captain America clearly had the best costume, am I correct?
No.
No?
No, not by far.
You don't, I feel like he had balls going out in his fucking pajamas.
Let me say this. The costumes in Justice League were phenomenal. I mean, just insane. They looked, I'll say aside from Cyborg, but when it comes to Cyborg, what are you going to really expect?
Cyborg is all CGI, but that's what you expect. What you saw from the trailer, that's it.
And even then, there are some scenes where it looks kind of like, it's not, it's believable sometimes, but Cyborg aside, you can tell like the level of detail inside of these costumes that went in. I mean, you can on Aquaman's armor, you can like look at each gold scale on his armor, and it is so impressive.
It's beautiful. It made me want to cry. Batman's armor alone, it looked like it came out of a comic book. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we see the suit. This is a little tiny mini spoiler, but not a big deal. We see the suit that we saw in Batman vs Superman, the Batman suit, and halfway through the movie, he changes into another suit, and that was even more impressive than the original. It was really, really cool. Wonder Woman's, if you saw Wonder Woman, it's pretty much the same, but still, I mean, you have to appreciate the level of detail that goes into that.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, the Flash, wow. The Flash, I mean, a little more metallic than I like. It kind of, doesn't, but at the same time...
Compared to the TV show, I feel like it's a better fit.
Yeah.
And it looks...
Absolutely.
Well, I do not like the whole rubbery thing that they have in the TV show. So for me, I feel like it's a big step up. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, this movie had the budget to make things like that.
Oh, yeah. 300 mil. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. They had the money.
Yeah. And Superman, too, I mean, same costume. But again, I mean, you can see the stitch. You can see that in-depth design that went into the costumes, and it's really impressive. It's really good.
I agree. So when it comes to costumes, hands down, Justice League.
And I feel like we have to talk a little bit about the Avengers, though. Give some nods to them.
Okay, you're right.
Because I actually don't know this. Iron Man in the Avengers, was his suit all CGI?
I believe all his suit was mainly CGI. No, actually, most of his suit was. Depending on what scene, it was mostly practical effects, I believe.
Okay, so what I would like to see, because Iron Man's suit is always top notch. It always looks great. I would like to see, if we do get another Justice League movie, I would like to see a little more practical effects with Cyborg. If you want to compare Cyborg and Iron Man has a very real look, and Cyborg looks kind of cheesy. So, I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker. I don't know, how that would happen. But if they could get it so that it could look a little more real, that would be really cool, too.
Actually, from my knowledge and what I saw from set photos, they tried to make it realistic. They actually had Cyborg, the character, Ray Fisher, I believe, walk around and mostly with pretty much an eye patch around, and with... You could see, it's not like a morph, like a foam suit with the balls and everything. Right. And, they tried their best. But like I said, when it comes to all CGI character... When it's needed, like Cyborg, Green Lantern.
We're not talking about that right now.
Oh, no, not now. God forbid. No, not yet.
Yeah, no, not yet.
But they did try their best to make it as practical as they can. But something like that, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Very. So I give them hands down, they did their best.
Yeah, and, the costumes in Avengers were not to say that they were bad.
It was just... For me, they were too plain.
Yeah, especially the S.H.I.E.L.D. outfits. I've always taken issue with Black Widow's outfit, actually. I'm like...
The black leather is...
Yeah, it's just a black leather suit. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't even know if it's technically leather, but just that is like... It doesn't have, a whole lot of flair, but they're still pretty good. And that's just a nod. That's just to say how good Justice League's outfits really were. I mean, they were... in a whole nother league. You could tell, you could just by looking at it, when you can, they walk out and they've got their suits on, you're like, wow, you get this sense of awe, like you would if the hero was real. It's just, it blew me away.
I understand. And once again, for anybody who does not know, based on this, it is a point system. So we'll explain throughout the whole episode later. But right now, we're talking about costume and design. That hands down for both of us goes to Justice League.
Justice League.
1 point.
Yeah.
1 point for Justice League.
1 point to Justice League.
Bing.
And big fat 0 for Avengers. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. So the next piece that we're going to talk about is the score. And for those of you who don't know, the score for this movie was actually Danny Elfman, which to me was a surprise because, I mean, look, Danny Elfman, you know, we are not worthy. He is a legend.
I'm surprised he does anything other than Tim Burton movies. So yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah, and you could tell, I mean, from the very beginning,
first scene.
When you first get that Danny Elfman score that comes in, you kind of get this callback to like a Tim Burton-esque movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it's like classic. Like if you think back to like the original Batman animated show, I got that sense of vibe from it. And I was just like, I was blown away. I was like, wow. Okay, I was like, this is really cool. I was digging it from the first moment, and it was great.
Just Avengers score was supposedly by Alan Silverstreet, I believe his name was. He is mostly famous for doing the score for Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. And after rewatching Justice League, it's clearly tell when the Justice League logo comes up and everybody's screaming their fucking minds out, and they're like do 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 do. I was like yeah, and then and once again, Justice League score also fantastic for other reasons.
You mean the Avengers? You said Justice League twice.
I'm a fuck up. Anyways, so yes, the Avengers score was better for the Avengers score was more hopeful, I'd say. Yeah. Each scene, like, even when a scene with Dredd, like, remember that scene? And for anybody, this is a spoiler for the Avengers that came out in 2012. And I'm not putting a spoiler warning at this. Fuck off.
If you haven't seen the Avengers,
it's your fault at this point.
Get with the times. Come on, man. It's, you know.
So, do you remember that scene in Avengers when Loki comes and he's making everybody kneel and there's that one old man who's like, not two men like you.
Yeah, right, yeah.
The score and the feeling of that, you could like feel like, oh my god. Yeah. And then when Captain America shows up, you're like, yeah, and the score empathize that. And it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
And it makes it so brighter and so hopeful. And to me, I feel like just on the hope alone and the music and the fact that I gotta give my point to, as much as I love Danny Elfman, I feel like he was put in last minute and the music could have been better. Because in case nobody knows, Danny Elfman was actually Joss Whedon's choice of a composer. He actually replaced Zack Snyder's choice, which I believe was like Henry XL, something like that. Not really sure. I'll do the research there.
Okay, you know, I'm kind of torn on this one. I really am, because, yeah, Avengers score was more hopeful, and it did have that. And I'm going to put this disclaimer out right now. I am a huge DC fan, and so I'm trying my best to remain unbiased. That being said, the big point that I got to give to Avengers is... Justice League. The big point that I got to give to Justice League is that when that score came in, I felt a bunch of things. I felt nostalgia, you know, I felt excitement, but most of all, the biggest thing that I felt was awe. I was like, not in the beginning, seeing, you know, the first time that you hear it, but when you hear, you know, and they're all gathering together, and it's like, it's epic. It's like, yes, like these are heroes. These are my heroes, and it's great.
So I believe we're both torn on this?
It's tough because both scores are really good, but I do think I have to give the point to Avengers on this one.
Avengers? Alright. That's 2 for Avengers and 2 for Justice League.
Right.
Okay. So, next off is the side characters. The characters that, you know, we're gonna be in there, but didn't really play a big part.
Yeah.
So let's see. For Avengers, we have Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, Nick Fury. Fuck, my bad. We have Mara Hill. We have Pepper Potts, who showed up for, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. We have all the other people. That old man, I guess. I'll count him. He was a badass.
Yeah.
He got his 5 seconds of fame. He earned it.
Yeah.
Point being, the two main people that they focused on was definitely Nick Fury and Mario Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we needed a little bit more because pretty much Nick Fury did, his usual thing. We need to save the world. We need to fix it. And Amara Hill pretty much stayed on the sidelines and, shot a few guns and was like, ah!
Yeah. Justice League, you have Commissioner Gordon, you have Lois Lane, you have Martha, not Bruce's Martha, Clark's Martha. Martha. And then you also have, who else do you got going on
Alfred.
in the background?
Yeah,
Alfred, right? Alfred, of course. And you also have, and this is not on a big, this is like a side character, the smaller, really minor characters, but you see the people that are involved in each of the heroes.
Oh yeah, you see the Amazonians. You see
Cyborg's, family. You see what's going on with him. You see what's going on, and this is how I feel about the side character part. Is that when it comes down to it, in Avengers, the side characters played a much bigger role in the story.
Oh yeah, especially I forgot to add Agent Phil. Phil Coulson, of course.
Yeah. They they're in there, they're fighting, they're shooting, they have a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in Justice League, what's really nice about it is that it adds to it adds to the feeling where you really get to see, the aftermath of everything that happened outside of the movie, and you get to feel what's really going on, and you get to it's an interesting way.
The characters in Justice League to me made the heroes more vulnerable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Valuable. You're right. Yeah, the side characters made a bigger impact for the heroes and for the story and for the the mood. It made a bigger. It really struck home. So while I'd say that the Avengers characters, side characters, were more useful, I think the Justice League ones had a bigger impact and were overall more valuable to the movie itself. So I'm going to give it to Justice League.
For once, I'm actually torn because the one scene that I was going through my head during this whole scenario was when Phil Coulson died in Avengers. Spoiler. No, fuck you. I'm not saying that. You don't deserve a spoiler warning at this point.
Yeah, I mean.
But that's what it was a forceful death, but that's what motivated Avengers to come together to work as a team.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because this is a point that I wanted to make. Or when it comes down to it, Phil dying was the thing that brought the Avengers apart, or together. Sorry, they brought the Avengers together, and it got them, got their shit in gear. But for Justice League, what I appreciated about it was you could tell that the side characters motivated the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't really have to do with side characters, but the Justice League to me felt more like heroes. They had their differences, sure, but they fought through them because they understood the more important point. Hey, we got a world to save, guys. And I thought that was a really cool thing that happened in Justice League because it made them feel more like heroes, where honestly when I watched Avengers, when they were all fighting amongst each other, I was like, this doesn't strike me as hero.
But you gotta remember the reason they were fighting was because they were all under the control of the Mind Stone.
Well, they weren't under the control, but yes, it was affecting them.
It was affecting them.
But still, it was, even before that,
Tony and Cap were still going at it.
Thor, they all had their egos that were clashing. Which, makes sense. It really does. But that's my reasoning for giving Justice League the point.
The side character. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to give that to you. You're actually correct on that. So, point, Justice League.
So it is now 4 points for Justice League and 2 points for Avengers.
Ooh-wee! Ooh-wee!
Pretty much. Yes. Everything. So next is the villain.
Okay, so are we getting in spoiler territory now?
Yeah, okay. Now we will go into spoiler territory because we will be talking about the main bad in Justice League.
And the story and other stuff like that. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch the movie. Let's get that out of the way right now. Watch Justice League. DC has a bad rap. I know. Like I said earlier, I'm a DC fan, and it hurts to be one when it comes to the movies. But go see Justice League because I really feel like they redeemed themselves really heavily with this movie. So yeah, go see it.
I will actually agree. Go see it. I'm usually a lot pickier when it comes to movies. And even I was like, holy shit, the critics are fucking insane.
Yeah.
Jack shit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the critics.
These are the same people that have said, Guardian of the Galaxy just didn't feel fresh.
Yeah,
I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It's a sequel. I'm sorry.
So this is it. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's a fun movie, even if you're not a huge DC fan. It's still a fun movie. It's action-packed. It's really good. But go watch it if you haven't seen it, or if you're one of the people that don't care about the spoilers, go ahead and keep watching. But if you care about spoilers, go watch it and then come back to us. All right. So the villain.
Oh.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf was insane.
Let me point this out right now. Steppenwolf, dumb name.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't. His name could be Fluffy Foo Bunny for all I care because oh my god, he was terrifying.
He was intimidating. He made me believe like, yeah, this dude's a fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah, and it you see him, and this was a really cool point that happened in Justice League is that he took on all of the heroes separately, and they all got their asses kicked.
Oh yeah,
they got destroyed. I think the only one that he didn't fight solo was Batman and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he Cyborg too.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so he kicked Aquaman's ass. He kicked Wonder Woman's ass. He kicked all of the Amazonians' asses. He was terrifying. He was a villain. He was powerful. He was fast. He was strong. And it was just like, yeah, okay. Unite the Justice League because damn, this guy is scary.
Oh yeah, they needed a team effort to defeat him. Holy shit. If they tried to go after this guy solo, they would have been, like you said earlier, destroyed.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because in movies, a lot of times when a bad guy, you have the hero, he'll make a big punch, and then the villain will get knocked back, and then they'll fucking monologue for a second. That did not happen in this movie. He got knocked down, Cyborg right next to him, Steppenwolf got right, boom, swung his axe, like, and like, oh, Jesus, like, had to dodge out of the way. Like, he was like, no, I'm on your ass, I'm coming for you. And he was relentless. He was, man, he struck me as a real threat, which has been a problem, not just DC movies, but just villains in general for me lately. It's like, okay, was that guy really like that scary though?
Oh, like Enchantress?
Yeah, okay, but like I said, not just DC.
I understand. In Avengers, we have Thor's brother, Loki.
Yeah, not a villain.
He's
a villain, but
not. He wasn't intimidating. He never gave us that. I never felt a pure threat of terror when Loki was on screen. I was like, oh yeah, we're totally doomed.
Yeah.
I was like, look at this little.
Yeah.
I felt like I could have beat his ass, which is amazing because I'm like 170 pounds of terror, and I'll kill you, man. I'll kick your ass. But Loki was not intimidating.
Yeah.
Even the side, like their lackeys, Loki had the Chitauri coming from a giant sinkhole.
That's a big point. That is a big point.
And even then, like, this is an alien race. They came from a whole nother world. And even when they came on screen, I was like, this is how I felt like Avengers were trying to be too kid friendly when it came to the Chitauri design, and it made them less intimidating. Like, they look like aliens, but, not scary aliens, unlike the creatures from Justice League. Parademons. Who made me literally want to shit myself. I was terrified. I was like, what?
Speaking of appearances, let's just talk about Steppenwolf's appearance alone. Not his, fighting ability, but his appearance alone. He's, 3,000 feet tall. It's actually, 10 feet tall or something, but he's really tall, and he just has this look, this, kind of like this warlord-esque look where it's kind of like, yeah, I'm here, I'm a threat, I'm gonna fuck you up. And it just, looking at him alone is just like, oh crap, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
That is not something I feel, even with, man, I hate to be going ahead this far, but even our first glimpse at Thanos for Infinity War, I was like, he looks like a giant blueberry. Like, I mean, or sorry, a giant grape. I'm like, this guy, his armor, he had like this giant spiky helmet. He was tall. He's muscular. He was scary, and so were the parademons. The Chitauri, yeah, like you said, they looked like aliens, but the parademons, I mean, and true to form too, because the parademons are sitting there, and even as you're beating the shit out of them and capturing them, they're still like foaming at the mouth, snarling, trying to like eat you, and it like really shows, okay, these things are terrifying. They're scary. They're rabid. They're kill them now.
Yes.
And
Nice.
it's enough said about that.
I believe the point, based on the fact that the villain did his job as intimidating, his lackeys were also intimidating, goes to Justice League.
It goes to Justice League, and I'd also like to point out, not only because if we're talking, right now we're just talking about Avengers. Avengers won, and when it comes down to it, who was really the villain in Avengers 1? Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Was he good at his job?
Oh.
No.
Oh.
I would have fired him. If I was a villain boss, I would have fired him.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given Steppenwolf a promotion, because even though, I mean, heroes win. Heroes always win. You know, you knew that. But even though he lost, it's still like, wow, he really kicked some ass there. He really put in work, and he was just doing a good job as a villain. I mean, the way that he was fighting. So yeah, point, Justice League.
Now it's time to talk about the main heroes themselves.
The main heroes themselves.
And this is where I'm actually torn. Because when it came to the heroes, Avengers did a good job introducing them by giving them their own solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew about them before coming in.
Yeah.
The problem with they did, and even though Justice League did a fantastic job introducing the characters that we saw for the first time, like the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg, I felt like maybe they could have done. Maybe we should have waited a little bit for Justice League and got our solo movie, so that way we have better understanding of the characters.
Yeah. Obviously, that would have been ideal.
That would have been ideal.
It would have been ideal. And I'm pretty sure, assuming this movie did well, we still, that should still be on the way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But, DC has struggled. DC has struggled with its movies in the past. And, I don't want to put Zack Snyder on blast, but I feel like the aesthetic that he's going for doesn't necessarily work. That being said, that's his past movies. In Justice League, it worked great. It worked amazingly well. And the heroes being on screen, even though this is like the first time we're meeting three of them, they have really, powerful introductions. And like Aquaman, for example, he was Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
He was Aquaman. I mean, he was crazy, wild, and Barry, he's
Funny.
fucking hilarious. He's hilarious. And Cyborg, I have a little issue with Cyborg. I feel like, Cyborg was brooding a lot of the time throughout the movie. I would too if I got in a terrible accident and got fused to a mother box. But the only problem that I had with Cyborg was he was brooding and he was really sad. He was, and then all of a sudden he was like, "I am a hero!" Like later on in the movie, and it was kind of strange. But yeah, obviously this one, unfortunately, as the character introductions themselves, it's got to go to Avengers.
Oh yeah, just the characters in general. Like each one of them has a certain purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Batman is. I'm gonna say it. Batman is the leader of the Justice League, and he was clear that Batman was just the leader. we don't really have a leader for Avengers. It's pretty much their own person. You know what I mean? Like, you feel it. For me, it was like Batman was calling all the shots, and people, yeah, of course, like somebody was like, but he kind of still went with it. The thing I felt, what I liked more about the Avengers than anything is that everybody felt more independent.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I loved about it more than anything. So yeah, for me, when it comes to characters and how they were structured and how they were brought on, and just in general, I'm gonna say my point goes to Avengers.
Ooh-wee, 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 ooh-wee.
Cinematography. That's what I'm talking about next. Yeah.
Cinematography. I don't feel like this is a competition. It's not anymore. Zack Snyder is known for making beautiful movies, not good movies, but beautiful.
Yeah.
Each scene looks like it's a still from a comic book. It's that fantastic.
Yeah.
It is that beautiful. Justice League had some good shots, some good effects. I meant Avengers. Oh, fuck me, I meant Avengers. Avengers had some great shots, had some great effects, but nothing compared to Justice League.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel like, it was beautiful.
I mean, just wow, and we have to be fair to Avengers. It came out a couple years ago. Quality's gotten better.
Oh yeah.
With the years. But that being said, I feel like it would still be if they both came out in the same year. I think Zack Snyder would still have it, because there's a scene where Martha and Clark are standing in the field. You saw in the trailer, but it's just this serene. You got the sunset coming down. You've got just the color contrast and everything is remarkable. And you got the scene. There's a scene where Flash, he jumps down and he's trying to push Wonder Woman's sword back at him. That was incredible. Just the way that everything was moving, slow motion, and he jumps out and he reaches out and he touches it, and just how crisp everything was. It was remarkable. The cinematography on this whole movie was, even like the dark stuff, when Unity gets put together and he's going and it's starting to destroy everything and make everything like Apocalypse. Even that, it's just like, oh my god. All the colors were bright. It was, just vibrant. And then even the end, when you got those weird little like alien plants that came out of it, the colors in there, it reminded me of that scene from an extremely goofy movie where he goes on his little trip. You know what I mean? That's what it reminded me of. Cinematography goes to Justice League.
Oh, hands down, Justice League.
Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, ooh-wee.
All right, and now for the main thing we all wanted to talk about, the story.
The story. And this is where things get a little rocky for Justice League. Justice League's story was good. It was good. It was solid. Not better than Wonder Woman's.
Oh no, Wonder Woman was a...
Wonder Woman's story was perfect.
Nah, fantastic.
But still better than all the other DC movies so far.
Green Lantern.
Okay, stop quoting Green Lantern, please. Please stop talking about Green Lantern.
Sorry.
The story was good. It was, it was really good. But, and this is another issue caused by that, our heroes not having a standalone movie. Everything felt a little rushed. It felt kind of, just piled together. Like, here you go. Go save the world. And, so, little boring at times. There was times where I know both you and I were sitting there, and they're having like hero interactions and character development, right? But it's like a couple hours from the world ending, and we're both just sitting there like, come on, get back to it.
Yeah, you gotta, come on.
So, flat out, when it comes down to the story, it's going to Avengers. Avengers wins on the story.
let's talk about the Avengers story for a bit before we make any big decisions.
Okay.
The Avengers. Well, first thing we gotta bring up the fact that the Avengers story was 4 years in the running. It was started in 2008 with Iron Man, and we knew it was coming. Justice League. Honestly, I'm just really surprised it fucking existed with how bad fucking Batman vs Superman and the other two.
Yeah.
But Justice League, yeah, it came out this year, and like you said, it felt a rush. The only two characters that we got on screen. Actually, no, we got 3 characters on screen before anything else. We got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and then the other 3 characters was pretty much a YouTube video. I'll be like, hey, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at Superman. Look at it. Yeah. And is that a bad way to introduce? Yeah. To me, yeah. I feel like we could have just had our own standalone movie. Maybe there's something. Maybe Warner Brothers or Zack Snyder or whoever development team was thinking was like, hey, how about we rush the big picture because everybody wants to see that.
I don't think it was that. I think it was more of a, hey, let's get Justice League out to try to save this franchise. I think that's what it was.
You might be right, but
because, everyone knows the DC movies, much as I hate to admit it, have struggled in the past. And I think they were like, all right, this one looks like it's going to be good. We're coasting off the success of Wonder Woman right now.
Oh.
Everyone loved Wonder Woman.
Everybody loved Wonder Woman.
Let's get Justice League out there. I think that's what it was, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's a good opinion. To me, like I said, I felt like they just wanted that big picture because they want to compete with the MCU. Who doesn't? It is one of the best cinematic universes right now. Right next to Star Wars, but God forbid, if we talk about Star Wars, I'm going to be here all day.
Yeah.
To me, story-wise, so I'm going to talk about the plot for a little bit.
Okay.
Justice League did something which I found was brave, bringing back Superman how they did. I thought that was brave, and for me, I felt like it worked out perfectly.
I mean, it made sense too.
Oh yeah, bringing the Mother Box and bringing him back to life.
Because if you know how Superman works, you know that that's valid.
Yeah,
that works.
That works. I mean, he died like 3 times, but came back each time. So
yeah, I mean, they also could have just thrown him into the sun. It probably would have done the same.
Oh, probably.
Are
they could have cloned him. There was many things they could have done.
Don't clone Superman. That never ends well. Yeah, I mean, this is where it gets complicated for me because I think Avengers had a better story overall, and that's trying to look at just the first movie. It does. One of the greatest qualities about the first Avengers story is that it actually sews everything together for the future movies, which this Justice League does too. But Avengers standalone story, it had a better build up, and honestly, just the way that it flowed was good. I know I was bagging on the Avengers earlier about how they were all bickering like teenagers, whereas the Justice League felt like heroes, and that's true, but it still all worked. It worked out. The only part where I would say that Justice League reigns over Avengers is like we were saying with Steppenwolf, with the villain, with the end, with that how it all worked out and how it all came together. Justice League definitely has that, but the story overall, between the two movies, I think you gotta hand it to Avengers, man.
Oh yeah, hands down. Avengers win.
So that's tied up now, right?
I believe we're tied up. I honestly don't know. I can't see the scoreboard. I'm not there yet.
I think it's 6-6 now.
6-6.
Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee.
Yeah,
Okay, so we gotta have a tie-burner, or should we leave it as a tie?
Well, we still got one more thing to talk about.
What is that?
The straight up review in general.
You're right. Let's do this.
Okay, finally we're getting to the review. So, thoughts. Justice League versus Avengers. All things considered. For the final points, who done did it better?
As overall build up and everything.
No, not build up. Can't.
As in just story.
Standalone movie, Avengers, Justice League, standalone, by themselves. Who done did it better?
That's very hard, and I'm gonna try to be very unbiased because I am the opposite of you.
Yeah.
I am a Marvel fanboy.
Yeah.
And they have deserved each one of my cents and each one of my monies. But I hate to say this sentence, and I hate myself for saying this sentence. And I'm just gonna go based on first impressions. In 2012, when I first saw Avengers, fucking Christ again. When I first saw Avengers, I loved it. It motivated me to watch every superhero movie first showing every time because I wanted to experience that over again.
It was the start of it all.
And story, Josh, as like I said earlier, Zack Snyder is known for making beautiful pictures. Joss Whedon is known as having a big group of characters and then making it perfect based on each character. And for me, just based on that and based on how Joss Whedon directed Avengers and how it made me feel and what it did to me, I gotta put on Justice League. Fuck myself. God damn.
Yeah. I gotta give the point to Justice League too, but let me tell you why. All right, when I first saw Avengers, there were certainly some points where I was screaming out in the theater, yeah, and I was laughing. I was dying laughing, and I had moments like that, but they were few and far between. In Justice League, there were points where I thought I wasn't going to be able to stop laughing, first of all. There were some really, really funny bits in there. There's a bit where, and obviously if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Flash, he comes in, and he's running up on Superman. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm the Flash, I'm going to get him. And you just see Superman's eyes just, boom, just look at him. And Barry's face goes, like, oh God, he can keep up with me? And it was gold. There was another part where Superman shows up to fight Steppenwolf, and Batman straight up does like the Colin D face. He's just like he's made this stupid ass face where he's like, and he looked like a little kid. He looked so happy, and it was so dumb and it was so stupid, but it was so funny. But comedy aside, and I will say this, I haven't seen the unedited, before Joss Whedon stepped in. And, it's terrible. Zack Snyder, if for whatever reason you're watching this video, I'm, terribly sorry about the tragedy that, fell upon you. But with that being said, when Joss Whedon coming in and making some changes, and I feel like adding some comedy, I feel like did a lot of good for this movie. And if we are getting a part 2, I hope they do team up again, or, the same effect as it arrived, even if it's just Zack Snyder, because the comedy was much needed. And it was a great relief. But the final reason why I'm giving this to Justice League is because the amount of times that I wanted to jump out of my seat and scream because of what was happening on this. There was that scene where Superman, he blows his frost breath onto Steppenwolf's axe, and Wonder Woman, she comes running in with the sword and flipping, and the whole time when she was in the air, I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god. Wonder Woman is about to crush, just shatter Steppenwolf's axe because it's frozen. And it's gonna be badass. And I was like, literally as she was in the air, I was like, please let this happen, please. And boom, it happened. Shatters his axe, makes this big bad Steppenwolf just completely humiliated, and he's sitting there like a little child, like a little defenseless child, and it was great.
I feel like that was the best part. I just think was the gesture itself, which is the one thing that surprisingly Avengers was lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big battle with Zachary, but there was no final confrontation where all the Avengers I mean, yeah, we got that last scene where Loki is on the ground. He's like, I like that drink now. But no, there was no big final battle. There was nothing. It was just the Chitauri versus the Avengers. And to me, and we were watching it, and I was thinking, like, this could be so much bigger.
Yeah.
I feel like Joss Whedon knew that, and that's why, once again, 2 years. That's what he improved on with Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Which we're not talking about that now, but I'm just saying that's something. That final battle in Age of Ultron was amazing, and it was fantastic, and that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
But the ending and the final battle and anything for Avengers, though yes, it was strategized and it made sense, was lacking on the action.
Yeah, it was lacking on a feeling of importance.
Yes.
And yeah, I feel the same way. Thinking back on Avengers, when they're fighting the Chitauri, it feels like the biggest threat that was coming from the Chitauri were those, I forget what they're called, the big ones.
The giant fucking worm things.
Yeah, those. But even then, they were like, Iron Man's like, fuck it, I'm just going to fly through it. I'm just going to fly through it, spin my lasers around, and just do the trick. Goes right through it, and alright, cool, it's dead. And there was like another one, and they smashed that shit to the ground. It was like, that was the biggest threat from the Chitauri. And they just knocked that shit out. All the Chitauri flying around. If you really go back and you look at that scene, it's like they're playing target practice. It's just like, oh, boom. You can even see Hawkeye. He's like, he's like, boom, 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 there, shoot. It's like, this doesn't feel like an invasion that is going to end the world. Mm-hmm. Just as like it felt like that. It did. It felt like, oh my god. Yeah, the parademons were terrifying. They had to work with, here and there. I mean, there were a lot of parademons getting their asses handed to them in that movie. But parademons aside, because if we're comparing the Chitauri and the parademons, they're about equal when it comes to difficulty for taking them out, I feel like, for the heroes. But that's where Avengers is lacking. Is Loki, he was... Hulk literally just took Loki and went boom, 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 boom. That's it. Big bad defeated. Mm-hmm. You had, in Justice League, you had Steppenwolf. Batman comes in. Boom, knocked aside. Superman comes in. Boom, knocked aside. Well, actually, when Superman came in, he boom, knocked Steppenwolf down. Boom.
Fuck off!
You had him fighting all of them at once. And you could feel gradually as the battle goes on, you could see, oh my god, they're overpowering Steppenwolf right now. They are. They're just straight up overpowering him. And yeah, that's why, because it really, I mean, just the overall like point where like I literally, that what I was talking about, that axe scene, I literally in the theater just went yes, and just I was so
that's
happy.
My reaction. Yeah, I was there.
Because
it happened.
I wanted that to happen so bad. I was like, please let that happen. That'll be so badass, and it did, and it was just so sad. So I feel like somehow, whether it was Zach or Joss, they knew what the audience was going to want, I feel like. And they fed into that, and they gave us what we wanted. They gave us that. So yeah, it's got to go to Justice League.
And especially I hate it, Marvel fanboy, Justice League, for me, what's the better movie?
Yeah, so that ties it up. That's, I believe, 8 points for Justice League. Justice League. I got
Justice
it.
League wins.
8 points for Justice League, and I think 6 for Avengers.
Ooh-wee, 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 ooh-wee.
Okay, so I think that
I
wraps
feel like
up.
this concludes our first episode.
Yeah, first episode. So, this is our show. Just a little outro since this is our first episode. This is Let's Be Real. We're going to talk to you about movies, old and new, whatever. And
sometimes we'll do a top 10 list. Sometimes we'll just fucking have a movie and just bag on it. Green Lantern. Oh, destroy that.
Stop talking about Green Lantern. So, yeah. Guys, it's been real.